Hello, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the head of content at Pharma Intelligence Insights. That's Script, Pink Sheet, In Vivo, and Generics Bulletin. And we're here at the Biotech Showcase in San Francisco at the start of 2019. And this is an opportunity for the industry to meet up and sort of have some review of what went on in 2018, and then how 2019 might pan out. I'm joined by Tony Chu, who's managing partner and founder of TPP Healthcare. You guys have got a big focus on China, and I thought it'd be worth getting your perspective on actually how China has developed in recent years. Because when we last spoke, we began to sort of see the influence of China, but since then there's been a lot of movement. Chinese money's involved in the global industry. We're seeing the rise of Chinese companies and also the launch of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So, how, from a Chinese point of view, have you actually seen these changes, and what has it meant for the indigenous industry?
Yeah, I guess it's been a couple of years since we last talked about this China-focused healthcare. Yeah? So in the last 2 years, around about a significant amount of things have changed. Like you mentioned earlier, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for biotech. So that's a very important aspect of the Chinese government trying to support the innovation part of our healthcare biotech industry. I think that's very important. That is just starting, but I think give it some time. I think it's going to get traction and do quite well. My own personal feeling that in the next 2-3 years, it's going to do really well. Already a number of companies have gone on there.
Sure.
They've been preparing this for quite some time. Also, Chinese companies, healthcare companies are listing in NASDAQ, doing quite well here. A number of our clients have done quite well here as well. So I think the aspects of Chinese companies are becoming more and more international, expanding their reach, and getting the valuation that they have outside of China. China, in the last couple of years, though, in itself, the biotech has not really, in the last year, has not done too well. A lot of companies have shrunk, but this is something that we, 5-6 years ago, we projected. Most of the Chinese companies are built from generic businesses. This is something that I've personally been involved for 3 decades. Now, a couple decades ago, doing generic is fine, but in this current era, you have to be innovative, and this is ones that we've been, preaching to the Chinese companies for quite some time. I think a lot of Chinese companies are starting to understand that now, and I think more deals will be done in 2019. But really, a lot of those companies that were generic-based have shrunk. Their market valuation have, shrunk half in size, quarter in size, because most of them are just one-product generic companies that have the valuation is too high from anywhere.
Yeah, but we have sort of seen a big shift in the towards genuinely innovative companies in China.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think for all of we're an advisory company representing U.S. sell-side advisors. Yeah, so we help U.S. companies. So you can see that a lot of more and more Chinese companies are starting to talk about innovation, starting to look at our clients' assets. Yeah? Yeah. And we're helping our clients develop, new innovative structures of how to better capitalize on this trend, right? But yeah, more and more. I think in 2019 there will be a lot more because most of those companies have nowhere else to go in China anymore. They were generic businesses because of the Chinese policies. Sure. They're shrunk. Their margins are getting really small. Their valuation is getting small. So they really have to kind of look at innovation now. Wow. They have to. So before they were doing okay. Now they're not doing too okay. They need to do that. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's going to be more.
And sort of for your Western clients, I mean, what is sort of the main theme of the advice that you're giving?
So I think the Chinese, the FDA, it's changed its name now, but most of our clients still refer to Chinese FDA, has really opened the doors for innovation to come to China. It's not protecting the generic businesses in China. So if you're a foreign innovative company, the route into China is a lot more transparent, much faster than before. And also because it's faster, and also your demand for clinical data is not, you don't have to do a lot of the clinical data from the US and Europe, if it's after evaluation, could be submitted and be used for the China data. So they could save a lot of money. So we have a lot of new innovative structures of how to capitalize on that. And that's what we're advising our US and European clients to do. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that they're, already at the JP Morgan meeting that runs sort of parallel with this, there's a lot of discussion about the sort of the potential break on sort of growth that the sort of the trade dispute between China and the US could have on sort of the pharmaceutical industry. Have you sort of got any sort of sense of how that's panning out in China?
Right. So I mean, this is definitely talked about quite a bit in our healthcare circle, both China, US based, and for our clients in the US, when we're advising them before, we're advising mainly to do two things. One is to raise some capital from Chinese investors, right? And the other one, of course, is to access the Chinese market with a good, strategic, strong partner for long-term involvement. Well, the second part is still there. They still want to access the Chinese market, but to raise capital, there is some dampening of that, right? Because everything have to be approved. To U.S. clients, I think they want to have this capital injection from China because it helps them with their business, right?
Sure,
and helps them market the product to patients over here. Why wouldn't they want that?
I mean, I saw a figure that 40% of the money that was being raised actually, has got Chinese fingerprints all over it. In Europe, there was I guess there was the hope that some of that money might be diverted into Europe. But it has also been suggested to me that actually that's probably not the case. And what might happen is that the money will just be, invested in China, and therefore would act as a catalyst for the development of the Chinese industry.
Well, I think when we just to lead into this, one thing is that we formed a company. We're invested with the Hangzhou government, right? And we named it Phoenix Valley. We're basically helping to build an incubation platform over there, and also to help our U.S. clients access China policies and Chinese government money a lot better. And there's more options for our clients to access. From that, you can see that with the interaction with the Chinese government, they are asking, hey, maybe we should look at Europe more, because previously we were very heavy balanced out in the U.S. Because face it, that's where all the innovation, most of the innovations are. We're a country that's formed by small, medium-sized companies, with that innovative culture, right? So most of our business before U.S., but now they're kind of saying, hey, try to look at Europe. That's one thing. But two is that for the money now, for the structure that we're doing, we're changing that a little bit because we're helping our U.S. clients access the Chinese market, right? For the funding that they get that they want for the U.S., it is kind of dampening with the CFIUS because nobody really knows exactly what kind of policies, what kind of steps you have to go through to do that. It's only implemented as of late last year. So we're anticipating that if there's some problems, then we help them access the Chinese market first with our current more innovative structures, and some of those money from that entity could be pushed back over to the parent company. Yeah? And then see how this U.S.-China policy plays out, and then get back into the investment.
So looking at 2019, how optimistic are you for the Chinese biotech pharma industry?
Yeah, well, we're hiring. We're out there hiring. So we're very optimistic about it. One is we feel that the Chinese companies that are doing well, that are smart, they are coming to look at more and more innovative deals, right? They have to. It's a must for them to do it. Before it was okay to do it, now they have to do it, right? So with that demand and with the innovations that we have in the US and Europe, I think that's a good match. So I think we're very jazzed about the whole thing still.
So, well, Tony, it's been fascinating to sort of see that that growth trajectory of the sort of the Chinese industry in recent years, and I'm happy that you keep coming back and sharing with us your experience.
Good to see you every year, Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.